Hello guys, good evening everyone, and good morning to the ones who are in US right now. This webinar we bring to you to talk about the tracking 2.0 technologies, BLE, RFID, GPS. As I start, I'd like to give a brief background about why this webinar is happening. Actually, a lot of clients, and especially from the logistics and retail industry, come to us and ask us, we want to build this solution. Now, which technology we need to do? Do we need to do BLE? Do we need to do RFID? Or do we need to do GPS? Especially the confusion between BLE and RFID exists a lot. So this webinar helps to clean some air regarding the same, gives you a comparison regarding where to use BLE and where to use RFID, the advantages, the pros and cons of each. So as I move forward, just to bring to you some things, right at the bottom of the page, you see a number which will show you like the slide number we are on. And throughout the presentation, you can feel free to ask me questions or you can send me your questions via comments. And apart from that, throughout the presentation, there would be different milestone screens that show that basically where we are in the current presentation. So moving forward, so one of the things that has definitely happened during all these times is that a report has recently showed that the Internet of Things, especially with BLE, will generate up to 1.9 trillion dollars in economic value for the supply chain and logistics. This means that we are probably sitting on a cusp of huge technology leap in terms of the way things had been done, and now the way that in 2020 and in 2030 the way things would be done. So today I'm going to talk mostly about the three technologies here, BLE, GPS, and RFID in this order, and help you decipher the magic around each of them. So BLE, what's BLE? BLE is battery powered transmitter that broadcasts via Bluetooth low energy. This is different from a typical Bluetooth, and by Bluetooth low energy, it means that we are doing low energy transmissions on a regular basis through this device, which when caught by a smartphone or by any device that can act as a receptor, a tracking could be made. So BLE usually transmits data over short distances, is very power friendly because a small battery that is placed can actually last for up to an year. And there are no handheld readers required as in the case of RFID, but rather your own smartphone can actually be an inherent device to be able to accept any BLE signals. Some of the beacon companies that are there are Estimate, Blue Cats, Jello, Contact. These are the major hardware manufacturers. And when you are looking for any BLE-based implementation, probably you need a hardware manufacturer alongside a software developer who can actually develop the mobile application for your implementation, so that you can do the required actions or you can do the tracking using that application. RFID is something that mostly people in logistics industry know about. Walmart did its RFID implementation at least 15 years back, and from there on, RFID have been used in almost all the retail stores. Mostly had been crashing with, I would say, barcode scanners and stating them their authority throughout all the past decade. So RFID uses electromagnetic fields that automatically identify and track tags attached to the objects. Tags, readers, read control, and application software. These are the four things actually required for any RFID implementation. So like I mentioned in the BLE slide, that beacons do not require any reader, but your own smartphone can actually be a reader. But RFID would require a reader controller as part of your initiative. The companies that are working in RFID are these are some of the leaders: Impinj, Alien Technology, Mojex, Geo RFID. But this is just a small list, and because RFID is such a old technology, there have been like hundreds of different technology leaders or RFID tag providers that you can easily choose from. Well, GPS, I believe I can move on this quickly because I think everybody is using GPS on a day-to-day basis. GPS is a space-based navigation system. It's mostly suitable for outdoor navigation because it is based on the communication that is coming from satellite, and indoor it does not work. But outdoors, it is the go-to technology. There's no other alternative to be able to track devices using GPS outdoors. So these are some of the device manufacturers that I've pointed out here. Sanav, Sanjos Technology, Metrack are uh, some of the leaders that you can rely upon to get your hardware done. So from here on, I'll move towards a brief comparison between the three technologies, how they fit in, and from there I will take you to specific use cases of each technology. So comparison between BLE, RFID, and GPS on various factors here. So one is accessibility. So accessibility is something like how accessible the relative signals from each device are. With BLE, your own smartphone can actually act as the receiver, so you don't have to invest in a reader. You just have to invest in the beacon tags. For RFID, you may have to invest in the reader tag as well as the RFID tag, as well as you have to build the software. For GPS, you just need a GPS receiver, and a device has to be put within whatever vehicle you want to track, and whenever it sends signals, your application software can receive it. So the range for BLE is about 1 meter to 70 meter. Again, the accuracy and range are something that are interrelated. So if you're going for a larger range, then probably the accuracy would come down. While if you're looking for a smaller range, then accuracy would be high accordingly. So range for BLE goes from 1 meter to 70 meter. There are some external factors as well, like there should, as much as there is no hurdle, or there is no something, nothing in between the line of sight between two objects, the range could be pretty large. While if, let's say, you're putting a beacon in a store or something where there are huge chunks of different stuff put together, then you may need beacons at every 20 or 25 meters as well. For RFID, the range is between 100 centimeter to 100 meters, which is actually a very, very vast range. So again, it comes down to what use case you want to track on, how much accuracy you want to track on, and the overall scenario, the overall location. For GPS, location is not at all a problem. Anything that can be seen by satellite is trackable via satellite. Accuracy high for BLE, but again it depends on the range you are targeting. RFID mostly moderate, lesser than BLE, but still again it depends on how you set it up. And GPS moderate to high. Security wise, BLE is not as secure currently as compared to RFID. There have been instances where beacons could have been hacked. So, it's a still growing technology. So, there are some standards that need to be built further for secure access. RFID are pretty secure, though again, there have been some instances which can be taken care of if you are using strong encryption signals between the communicator and the receiver. GPS is pretty secure in itself as well. The cost for BLE implementation is high because a beacon chip would easily cost you at least $10. For RFID, the chips are actually very, very cheap. The chips could be as cheap as 1 cent per chip, but then of course you need a large number of chips to track a large number of objects. While with BLE, probably it can be used for bigger consignments in within a space. And GPS is pretty low as well, given the kind of benefit it provides as a per unit cost. Suitability, BLE and RFID can be used indoors, while GPS is to be used outdoors. So which one suits you? Very important slide. When should you go for beacons? As you've seen, the major advantages of beacons are short range, proximity, high portability, and smartphone compatibility, which means that you can easily use beacons for asset tracking, for inventory control, for yard management. Uh, but as I mentioned to you before, that beacons are providing signals. They are just not providing you the information that you can just be able to track the location, but beacons can actually be used to do a lot more things. If you are tracking using beacons, like beacon chips can be used for biosensing, for light intensity, for proximity, for power units to measure them, for humidity control, for position and motion if something is moving or not, for temperature readings, for flow, for level, for pressure measurement. So each of these things can be done via beacons, which is not possible by via RFID. So these are the major wins for beacons when it comes like where you want to implement beacons. Beacons can definitely be put together not only for tracking but also it can be a great component for your overall inventory control and overall storage control and taking care of the different parameters that you want to measure while you store stuff. When you should go for RFID would be real-time location of assets. It is a great replacement for barcodes, and automatic scanning and billing it can be used for. So it is used for storage process, delivery process, distribution. So mostly RFID can be used to track consignments, where it's like you want to know whether some consignment has been received or not, or whether some consignment is in certain place or not. So at all those places, RFID can be used. In fact, RFID is so fast that it can actually track up to 100 to 200 tags within a second. So just as a tag could pass through a space, your RFID sensor could make a mark that, okay, this consignment has been received. So this is one of the old use cases that have been in place since all these years. So RFID has been pretty useful in that regard. So when you should go for GPS, RFID and BLE, both these technologies cannot be used in outdoor tracking. They are more confined, using them indoors within a specific area for a specific purpose. But GPS is something that you use for the outdoor location and making sure that you can track anything again that can be tracked via satellite. So that's GPS for you. So you can use GPS for location of your fleet, tracking and routing purpose. We all use Google Maps, so I do not think I need to elaborate more. So in this part of the presentation, I'm going to tell you some aspects about the case studies of where different solutions have been put throughout the world and how they've fared. So for Beacon, one of the famous case studies has been from Saya freight farm based in the US, which had around 3,000 trucks. Saya deployed beacons as sensors into its fleet and basically put different beacon-based sensors into their trucks so as to be able to measure temperature control, be able to measure the overall environmental factors within the truck like humidity, storage conditions, being able to trigger events based on those controls, like if the temperature goes low, maybe what should happen, or maybe giving an alert to the driver who is sitting just next seat, but probably because he's driving, he cannot go back and see every time what the temperature is. But using beacons, they were able to trigger these events to the driver's smartphone, and the driver could actually take an action whenever required. So for these things, Saya used beacon-based solution, and they have been able to achieve great results that are right there on their website. You can check out as well, like 6% increase in fuel efficiency, $15 million in savings, driver safety, reduced fuel usage. So these are some great accomplishments that they were able to get through their beacon initiative. RFID was used by Adani Logistics. This is another very famous case study. Adani Logistics is a global name, and it basically deals in global trading, coal mining, power generation, oil and gas exploration areas. They implemented RFID tags to monitor the cargo control on ship consignments, and basically to measure the time spent for loading and unloading at the port. So again, RFID tag was put so that every time a consignment could pass through that area, it was tagged. And through the data collected, they were able to decipher the lags that were happening during the transport of the freight from one area to another at the port. So they were able to reduce delays at the port. They were able to reduce cargo loading and unloading time. They were able to have an annual labor saving of more than $1 million, and they were able to do better cargo management that eventually could uh, bring more value, more consignments per hour to be done. So this was from Adani that they used RFID. And there's a small GPS case study I would also like to add. So GPS mostly used in the logistics industry, but uh, uh, the trucking company takes the cake, because when they implemented the GPS systems in their trucks, they were able to actually increase customer satisfaction and repeat business and referrals through the orders they were doing, because they were one of the pioneers who gave the first chance to have users actually uh, uh, to keep a track of the logistics that is going on. So uh, basically they could easily track the different consignments on their smartphone, and the customers were also allowed to participate, so they're able to increase customer satisfaction, increase repeat business and referrals, and billing was made automatic, because now the client knew where their consignments are, and the communication between driver, destination, and the customers could be increased. So this is a great story of how GPS could be used to actually create value, not only in terms of like just in terms of tracking, but also in the overall user experience, and create value beyond the data sheets. So our recommendation here is basically beacons to be used as sensors, because with the kind of cost that beacons have, they cannot be used to track, really small unit level tracking, but they can of course be used if the asset tracking is at a large object level. So that's where beacon could be used for tracking. Otherwise, beacons can have a very good case when it comes to tracking in terms of temperature, on in terms of like the smart home in, concept, basically measuring each and every aspect and controlling the devices within a specific area. RFID is a better choice when it comes to unit tracking for tracking consignments within a defined area. So it is cheap. It is as cheap as 1 cent per unit, and it actually tracks really fast. And GPS should be used for outdoor tracking. So these are our basic recommendations. Again, these recommendations do vary with the kind of business you are in and exactly the kind of value that you want to build. And anytime you have a business case, maybe you can consult with any of the experts in the field, or contact us. We would be more than happy to provide you the right solution. Many times a solution could be a hybrid between the all systems. It could be RFID sensors that takes aid of a beacon based system, and that eventually could be implemented via GPS. So you never know the kind of inventions that are happening throughout the world, and it all depends on the kind of industry and the kind of business problem that you're planning to solve, that we can recommend you the right solution. Here, I'll take a few minutes just showing the kind of work we have been doing. And the purpose of it is that if this is something exactly what you are looking for, then you can easily connect with us and let us know, like if this is something you plan to implement as well. So this is a e-tech tracker that we have implemented, and it currently is a GPS based system and tracks more than 3,000 vehicles currently live. The snapshot that you see is actually a live uh, snapshot of a taxi system, and It has a GPS tracking, real-time tracking for anyone from the staff or any customer can actually track their taxi. The status is shown as if the vehicle is moving or not. The reporting is very granular, and anybody can easily drag and drop on the map so as to be able to interact with the map on a very smooth level over the smartphone or also on the web. So this is one solution, the kind of solution GP with using GPS one can build. Then another solution that we have built recently is by the name You Are Here, which is more about proximity marketing. And the solution is based on beacons, and it allows anyone to create a beacon network so that for any retail or any logistics industry, the whole area could be mapped on a smartphone, and uh, anyone, any outsider can actually navigate through the whole area using the mobile phone. So what usually happens with a GPS based system is that you can reach a building but you cannot navigate inside. With You Are Here, with the kind of network that we have built using beacons, you can actually navigate throughout the area inside a building. You can even know the floors that you are on. You can navigate floor by floor, and you can search and discover as well. So this is another work that would just like to quickly go through. This is an application for a logistics client that we have worked with recently, and it's by the name JP Logistics, which is a company that deals in transport of luxury cars. So the application actually allows anyone to basically book a order, track their car, and make sure that it reaches safe. The application allows report generation. The application allows anyone to pay through the application. The invoice is generated once the consignment is reached, and the whole database and the statistics is available. So this is something similar to the case study I mentioned before, and it's more driven towards the whole user experience and to give a competitive advantage using technology. So that's the end of my presentation, gentlemen. And this is a bit about us. We do app and web-based development for different businesses. Businesses come to us for problems that they want to solve, and we help them. These are some of the businesses that we have worked with and are currently working with. And this is a bit about your speaker today. My name is Ayush, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Mindpause. I also take care of Startup Grind Pune chapter, where we host different entrepreneurs every month on a local basis. So that's from us, gentlemen, and I hope this webinar was useful for you. In case of any questions, feel free to reach out to me over the phone or over email, as you see there on the screen. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.